Hello, hello, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Brooke, and this is my new YouTube channel that I just made a few months ago, and I actually just took a big break because I just had my baby, Adeline. But basically this YouTube is in regards to motherhood, pregnancy, having a baby, and everything in between, and there's a piece of fuzz. But I thought for today's video I would just sit down, have a nice cup of coffee with you guys, and go through some of my experience in labor and delivery and some tips that I have for you guys. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. I love seeing when I get new subscribers. Please like this video if you did enjoy it. If it helped you at all, please let me know in the comments if you have any questions. But let's just get right into it. So to get right into the video, this is what I wish I knew before having a baby, labor and delivery edition. So I actually made a list on my phone, and I'm going to go ahead and pull it up so that way I did not miss anything, because I do have a lot that I want to share with you guys today. So I'm just going to jump right in. So for me personally, I ended up having to have an induction at 36 weeks. It was like literally, well, it was the day before 36 weeks for me. And I thought that was going to be like super quick and easy, and that was not the case. Induction may be easy for some people. I'm not sure. I haven't really asked around too many people who have had an induction on what their experience was like, but for me personally, it was awful. And I'm going to be kind of brutally honest in this video because I want to be upfront as much as possible and very transparent with anyone watching this video, because I was not prepared, and if I can just prepare one woman before she goes into having her baby, that's great for me. So induction is very personable and can be very painful, is what I put on here. I was hospitalized for a little over a week before I ended up being told that I was going to be induced, and they came in one night, and it was probably like 10:30 at night, and me and my fiance were like getting ready to like go to sleep and stuff, and they came to check my blood pressure, and it was like 178 over 100 or something like that. Gave me medicine, and it only came down a little bit. So she ended up the nurse ended up coming in and was like, change of plans. Literally, that's what she said, change of plans, you guys. Change of plans. The doctor wants to go ahead and induce you tonight. And so that's what happened. And I started freaking crying, y'all. I was bawling my eyes out. I don't know why I was so upset. I think I was just really scared because I was like, you know, my whole pregnancy was like, oh yeah, I'm like not scared to have the baby, honestly. Like, I think it's gonna be fine. And then here comes time like, oh yeah, you're gonna be like induced in the next like hour. And I was like crying. I was bawling my eyes out. So when it came time for me to be induced, I ended up being induced by the Foley balloon. And I just want to state that, and this is actually another point in here, so let me add these two together. I basically just said when they say that you're gonna feel some pressure, brace yourself, because they say, oh, you're just gonna feel a little pressure, and it can actually be really painful. Whatever they're doing may just be really painful. And that's what they told me. They're like, oh, you're just gonna feel a little pressure. I'm gonna check your cervix. And cervical checks are painful too, you know, like your cervix is sensitive. And so I wasn't expecting that. Like I see on movies and like TV shows that when they get their cervical checked or their cervix checked, they don't seem no reaction, like they don't seem like it's painful, and it is pretty painful. It's not comfortable. It definitely hurts a little. So she checked my cervix and then decided to go ahead and do the Foley balloon. I wasn't dilated at all. So the Foley balloon basically is this it's like a tube situation, and you know, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not gonna get into exactly what it is or how it works, but basically it's just like this long tube. They stick it in your cervix, and basically they're wanting you to dilate to 4 centimeters with the Foley balloon. Once they put the Foley balloon in, they pump it up with saline, and so it kind of like comes with like 2 little balloons on each side of your cervix, and that's kind of supposed to help open your cervix up. So that's the gist of that. So they said that they wanted to try that because apparently that helps dilate you a lot quicker. So I was like, sure, like let's get this baby out. I had really been struggling with preeclampsia my whole pregnancy, so I was ready for that. Or not my whole pregnancy, but like half my pregnancy. Anyways, so I was ready for that. So I was like, sure, go ahead. And long story short with that, the Foley balloon was pretty painful, and I just bit through it. I was like, they almost quit, and I was like, no, like, you're not gonna stop. You're gonna get this fully balloon in, and we're gonna make it happen, because I did not just sit through 15 minutes of pain for you to give up. So eventually they got it in, but I just wanted to warn you, like, induction can be really painful. And then on top of that, you know, they're giving you the Pitocin, which, you know, when women go into labor, you know, you see these labor videos on YouTube where they're like, oh, like, you know, I think I'm having contractions, and it feels, you know, I feel like there's something there, and I feel like I might need to, like, just, you know, start preparing to go to the hospital. Well, Pitocin is medically forcing you into labor, so your contractions come fast, and I was not prepared for that. And within like an hour of basically sitting there and like them doing all this stuff to me, like hooking me up with IVs and doing the Foley balloon, they had started the Pitocin, I was starting to contract, and within 2 hours the contractions were awful, right? So then they also give you, if you have high blood pressure, they give you, which is a big reason why people get induced, they'll give you magnesium through an IV for 24 hours while you're in labor, and then 24 hours after. Magnesium they'll tell you that it makes you feel like you have the flu, and it really does. It makes you feel like you have the flu and that you're sick. And so not only are you having these super bad contractions that happen very quickly, you're having to wait on a anesthesiologist to come and give you your epidural if that's what you want, and you're feeling sick from the magnesium. So that was my situation, right? And they ended up having to give me fentanyl because I literally could not take the contractions, and I could not wait on this anesthesiologist to get there. And so they gave me the fentanyl. They didn't tell me it was fentanyl at the time. They just said they were going to give me a little something to take the edge off, and I said, okay. So that's what they gave me. And they gave me a lot of it, y'all, okay? I was toe up from the flow up, okay? I was messed up. And I couldn't even, like, go to the restroom by myself. My fiance had to help me to the restroom. And this is TMI, but I had, like, all these cords hanging out of my vagina. Like, you know, the tubes from the Foley balloon. It was awful, and I couldn't even walk to the bathroom. He had to help me walk to the bathroom. And I remember, like, trying to talk to him. And in my head, I, like, knew what I was saying. But, like, when I was talking to him, I was like, and I remember getting so mad because I could not tell him what I wanted. And so, long story short, that's another tip that goes into the next tip, is basically just make sure you ask them what they're giving you, and if you're okay with that. That all plays into like having a birth plan and stuff, but just make sure you ask them what they're giving you and if you're okay with it, because you know, later in my labor, I told them absolutely no more fentanyl, because I couldn't even enjoy like being in labor. Like I couldn't even really experience it because I was so out of my mind. And so that really sucked for me. And I just don't, you know, that's a big tip that I want to give anyone, is just be prepared for that. But my next tip is have a birth plan. I did not take that seriously. I was thinking, like, how do you even have like a birth plan? You know, like I don't even know what to do, how to plan a birth plan. I don't know what that looks like. And I didn't know what that looked like until I went into labor and realized, damn, I should have had a birth plan. So make a birth plan. Research other birth plans. See other people's birth plan. For example, my birth plan would have been, I would have made sure that they told me everything they were giving me. I would have had my fiance advocate for that, you know, asking them what they're giving me. When I had my baby, I would have pushed to have them leave her on my chest for longer, because they didn't. And not that it really mattered, because I was so out of my mind high from the fentanyl that they were giving me. So all of that could have been avoided, and I could have had a way better experience if I would have just come up with a birth plan. So that's another big one, just make a birth plan. Okay, so my next tip for you guys. There's a good chance that your labor and delivery experience may not be what you see on TV or in YouTube videos. So this is a big one for me because, like I just previously said, my experience was not the best, and I was not prepared for that. I mean, everyone that I saw that had recently had babies had such a great experience, and my cousin had recently had a baby a couple years prior, and she just looked so beautiful and angelic, and her experience looked so nice, and it may not be like that for you. So just know that. I watched so many labor and delivery videos, and I wish my labor and delivery experience went like that. I wish I could have experienced you know, going through the contractions with my fiance and like walking around the room and cutting up and laughing in between contractions and having my partner breathe through contractions with me and really experience it. But instead I had a almost 24-hour labor with, you know, now looking back seemed like it was only an hour long because I was so out of my head on painkillers. So just know that your experience may not be like the movies or YouTube videos that you see, and that's okay. So next, if your baby is going to the NICU and you don't want to introduce a pacifier to them, be sure to tell the nurses. So I didn't really think about this before. Once again, have a birth plan, y'all. Jesus, have a birth plan. Didn't really think about this before, but they did take my baby to the NICU because she was underweight. She was 4 pounds 2 ounces, and babies are expected to lose weight after they're born. So of course she did drop down to 3 pounds 15 ounces. And with that being said, they had to take her to the NICU. So in the NICU, I didn't get to visit her until like hours and hours later because I was on the magnesium drip, and you have to stay on that for 24 hours after you have your baby. So you can't go up to, at least this is how it is at my hospital, I wasn't able to go up to mother and baby until after I was done with that magnesium drip and to make sure my blood pressure was stable. But when I did finally go there, I noticed that they had a pacifier in her little bed or whatever. Now, for me personally, it's not that big of a deal. I would have preferred them ask me, but it's really not that big of a deal for me. But I do want to prepare other moms out there. If your baby's going to the NICU, just be sure to mention to them if you would prefer your baby not have a pacifier, because having her latch for breastfeeding because she wanted my nipple to follow her like a pacifier would, and obviously it's not going to do that. So it probably would have been a little easier had she not been introduced to a pacifier without my knowledge. So just be sure to mention that to them if you would prefer them not have a pacifier. So be sure to embrace the moment when your baby comes out. So once again, I said earlier, I was so out of my mind. I could not even enjoy the moment holding my daughter for the first time. My eyes were so swollen and like they were almost swollen shut, and I was so tired and wore out. I should have stopped to really think, take this moment in, take it in and enjoy it, because you know, for me personally, I don't even know if I plan to even have any more children. So it's kind of like, I wish I would have just took that moment in a little more. So that's why I mentioned this in here, because I think that's a big one. Okay, that's funny. And I might offend my mom a little bit in this one, but make sure you have someone who takes good pictures and videos. So y'all, like I said, I was 45 pounds heavier than I am right now, and bless my mama's heart, the videos that she got of me, it was just at a bad angle, you guys, and I looked big, okay, which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that, but for me, I'm not used to seeing myself like that. So I looked rough, my hair was up in a knot, I was sweating, like I said, my eyes were all swollen, like they were almost shut, and I was way heavier than I am now. And obviously when you're going through labor, you're not gonna look at your best, but those angles definitely didn't help. So just make sure you got someone who can take a good picture for you at a right angle, because whew. And I'm just gonna tell you, this is gonna go into the TMI part, you guys. There is an afterbirth smell. Okay? No one told me that either. Okay, I had my baby, and you know, after that, you got to go to the bathroom and stuff. After having that Foley balloon in and pushing a baby out and everything, and having a catheter in, I literally felt like I had to pee every 10 seconds. So I had to go to the bathroom constantly, and there's a smell. And I've even heard some people say, I've heard a husband say one time that he loved the way it smelled, which I personally don't like the way it smells, but to each their own. But there is a smell, and I didn't know that. So there you go. Just know that after you have a baby, there's an afterbirth smell, and I wouldn't say it stinks, but it's not roses. Okay, so just know that. You will bleed like crazy for about 2 to 3 days after you have a baby. I only tore a tiny, like a little scratch almost. Like my perineum was completely intact, so this is for women who have that experience or who may have that experience, because I can't speak for women who had like a second, third, fourth degree tear, because I did not have those things, thank the Lord. So my experience, I bled like crazy 2 to 3 days after I had my baby, which I would think is about the same for everyone else. But I remember like getting in a bath, like finally after like the first bath that I had like since having my baby. And I remember getting out and I stepped out onto the floor and like, once again, TMI y'all, like a whole gush of blood came down and got all over the floor, and my fiance had to come help me clean everything because I couldn't bend over and stuff because I was just still sore. So just know that that'll happen. And I personally did not bleed for very long after that. I only bled for a couple of weeks and it was very light bleeding. I thought that I would bleed a lot because for some reason I had in my mind that that's what happens, but I didn't. And that goes into my next tip here. You may not use all of your postpartum products that you buy because, once again, like I said, I did not bleed very often, and this is just my experience. Did not bleed very often and did not need to use the Dermaplast spray. I think the only thing I used was the witch hazel pads for like a day, you know, and I didn't use Dermaplast. I used the Perry bottle. That's the big one, okay? I'll probably make a video on the stuff that I actually did use because I have a postpartum video. You can go check it out. And I do believe, like, once again, if you have a tear, you know, if you ended up having a second degree, third degree, or fourth degree tear, you may need all those products. So those are all great products to use in labor, and that's why I purchased all of them, because you never know really how your labor is going to go. Adult diapers are everything. Okay, they're everything. You may feel silly wearing a diaper, girl, but you're gonna be comfortable, that's for sure. Okay, so I loved the adult diapers. I had to get my mother-in-law to go to my house and get me more and bring to the hospital for me because I had used all of the ones that I had brought, and I did not. The underwear they give you is shit, y'all. I'm just gonna tell you. I've heard people say they like the underwear that they give you, and their hospitals might be different from mine, but the crotch part, literally, it like comes like this and like this, and like the where it intersects, when it like connects right here, is right at your hoo-ha. So I don't understand how it's supposed to hold a pad or anything. I don't know, you guys. So I'm just saying adult diapers was everything for me. Oh, make sure your support person is someone you don't mind being 100% personal with, because labor is personal, y'all. Okay, I was, and this is gonna be TMI again, you know, I'm just gonna quit saying it because we're in a labor and delivery video here, and this is gonna happen, okay? There was blood everywhere. Okay, my vagina was out, blood everywhere. Like every time the doctor would check me, he would have like blood all the way on his arm and shit. It's a very personal experience, and don't have someone with you that you're not 100% comfortable with in every aspect, because it's very uncomfortable. Like my fiance had to help. I had blood down my legs. He had to help wipe me up. Like I said, there's an afterbirth smell, girl. I mean, it probably doesn't smell pleasant, and it can be hard and like a little embarrassing if you're with someone that you're not comfortable with. So just keep that in mind. Definitely have someone you're comfortable with 100%. PJs. Oh my goodness, that's what I wrote. I literally wrote it 3 times. Don't bring nothing uncomfortable with you. Bring a bunch of PJs, okay? And I also put overpack rather than underpack, okay? So bring a bunch of PJs. Like I said, I was admitted to the hospital over a week before I had my baby, and so I was there for a long time, y'all, and obviously there's no washer or dryer there. So luckily I'm very type A, and I overpacked to the fullest. Okay, so I had a bunch of outfits with me. Like the nurses and stuff were like complimenting my outfits, like my pajamas, and I was like, yeah girl, I was ready for this. So yeah, make sure you pack a bunch of comfortable clothes, a bunch of comfortable PJs. I'm gonna put Old Navy on right now because I love their postpartum pajamas. Love. So I had like a couple pairs of those and like a robe and slippers and all that, which you can go and see what's in my hospital bag. I made a video for that too, so go check it out. Anyways, but yes, bring plenty of pajamas and comfortable clothes. Overpack rather than underpack. If you feel like you may need those slippers, bring them. If you feel like you may need that extra Duba toothpaste, girl, you bring it. Bring anything you freaking want, okay? They give you a big old trolley or whatever it's called to pack all your stuff up on and take to your car at the end of your stay. So, and there's plenty of room on it, okay? So bring everything you need. Bring everything you need. And I even put on here, bring a pregnancy pillow, okay? That was huge for me. Bring a pregnancy pillow. It's so, I mean, you want to be comfortable. You're having a baby. So if you sleep at night with your pregnancy pillow and you sleep like an angel, bring it, okay? Bring that pregnancy pillow. Okay, so let's see. Take snacks to the hospital. This kind of plays into Overpack because hospital food's gross, you guys, and you'll quickly, if you're one to want to like save some money, you'll quickly spend a check there, okay, on some snacks because you get real hungry and you get real thirsty, and especially if you're admitted prior to having a baby, you're gonna want snacks. So just bring snacks, bring hydrating drinks, bring some body armor. If you want like a Dr. Pepper here and there, bring it, okay? So next, don't be discouraged regarding your breast milk supply. So this is just, I'm sure a lot of people know this, but just for the people who don't know this, your breast milk does not come in immediately. Sometimes it takes 3 to 7 days for your breast milk to come in. Now you do get a little colostrum, so that's good. But and you know, the pumping team will come in, the breastfeeding consultants will come in, and we'll talk to you about it, and we'll give you like a pump to pump your boobs with, and like all that stuff to get the colostrum. Okay, to get the colostrum, you may get breast milk, but it's mainly to get the colostrum. Don't feel like because they're coming in, they're giving you this pump that you're supposed to be able to pump 3 ounces of breast milk, because realistically that's not really how it goes. Like, you know, 3 to 7 days after you have a baby is when you're expected to get your breast milk in. So don't be discouraged, okay girl, it's gonna come in. So take shower-proof flip-flops. Okay, so especially if you're admitted to the hospital, you want shower-proof flip-flops, like if you're admitted prior to having the baby, because when you take a shower, they're obviously, you gotta step in there, and although hospitals are normally pretty clean, you never know. So just bring flip-flops that you can take in the shower with you so that you can take a shower comfortably knowing that you're not going to end up with some nasty ass foot fungus or something. Okay. Oh, bring baby clothes. Bring baby clothes. You don't ever know if your baby's going to end up in the NICU for whatever reason. I've heard people say, oh, they'll give you that stuff. They'll give the baby clothes in the NICU and they'll put clothes on them and they'll wrap them up in a swaddle and all that stuff. And that's not always the case, okay? I went to my NICU and they asked me, did you bring baby clothes? Thankfully I did. Type A, overpacked. Yes, I did bring baby clothes. And she was covered, okay? But she was also preemie, so we had to go have my mother-in-law go out and get some preemie clothes for us. But yes, they do want you to have baby clothes, especially if your baby ends up in the NICU. So don't forget that. You know, I see where people bring like 1 or 2 outfits. You might want to bring 3 to 5 outfits just in case. That's it, y'all. Okay, I went through that pretty fast. Good. All right, so that was it. Those were my tips for you guys. I hope you enjoyed them, and you know I kind of bounced in between topics here and may have gotten a little confusing, so if you have questions, please comment down below and I'm more than happy to answer them for you. But I hope these tips were helpful for you, and I am glad you tuned into this video. So you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.